blind people, and she joined the Kenya Society for the Blind, and she was also in the union, and she used to visit blind people, people who have been struck by blindness, especially in their old age. I mean, when they are, or in their youth and childhood, because she could understand that what trauma they are going through. And then families were also not, some families were not acceptable, because they never accepted these people, because they thought, what are we going to do with a blind person? It's like you've become useless. As for us, when you came to our home, you would not realize that my mom was blind, because she joked about her blindness. She used to call herself Gatumumu Nekaroka, and she never, one day, I never saw my mom down one day because of her blindness. No, and she took it because of her faith. Her faith was so strong that it took her and pulled her through so many tragedies in her life. She died at a tender age of 50. Now I know that it was tender. Those days I used to think she was very old when she died. But to her dying day, she was strong. And it would be my pleasure to even work with you, Wambui, and help out where I can, when I can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a really, when I spoke to you about what I was planning to do and my passion for the blind, and you gave your story of your mom, but also for me, I got very inspired by your mom, that straight away she knew she had to do something about her blindness by going to Thika School for the Blind. She's already had children, and yes, I can understand her husband thinking
School for the Blind.
Thika School for the Blind, Machakos School for the Blind. But to me, it just shows a woman who was not going to be stopped by anything. She was determined to live her life. And as long as there is a support, as long as there is centers that would support her, she went for it. So I really thank her for that, and really admire her for that. And I wish I would have met her, because I have met some wonderful people since I put the post on Facebook to ask if you have a family member. But there's just been really inspiring stories of the blind. And I want to hear more, and I want to see, okay, so why then do we have others that are not doing as well? Is it because of the support, the love in the home? You have covered a bit of that. You've said some did not get support from the houses because it's seen as a stigma. But let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do, Shiru. And I think personally, we need to bring more awareness of the blind.
True.
I do it here through a volunteering organization called West Hearts Vision Loss. We even do walk a mile in my shoes. You get blindfolded and you have to walk a mile just to feel that. And I tell you what, by the time you get on the other end of that 1 mile, you're actually in tears. So for somebody who was seeing like your mother and then having lost her sight, the trauma, I'm sure she needed counseling as well, because all of a sudden...
But counseling in Kenya was not there.
It wasn't there. That is why she had to find other ways of helping herself.
Oh, how she counseled herself, I think her faith counseled her.
It's her faith.
Yeah, so because she was a believer. She was a very strong believer. And her belief was not shakeable. Me, I've never seen somebody who was unshakable like my mother. To be honest, people say it could be a cliche or whatever, but it's not. Because for her, imagine going to a boarding school whereby it's for young people as young as her children. And she's going to board and stay in the dormitories. You know the dormitories in Kenya, really. Yeah. And she's staying with them. And she's not hearing anything about it. You're telling her, okay, no, my dad kept saying, no, why don't you go to Thika? Then I can be dropping you. She said no.
She wanted the best.
Yes. And, well, she got her braille and everything, and she went back to work.
You see?
And she could read with using braille, you know.
Where was she working at that time?
She was a nurse with the city council, and she was working. That time she had just started working in Umoja Clinic.
Wow.
Yeah.
So thanks to Omoja Clinic that they accepted her. In most
City
organizations,
were
corporate, she would have been out.
City Council were just the best employers ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
because
thank you.
they well understood everything, and they talked to her, and she told them her journey, and they accepted her. Yeah.
We thank God for her life.
We do.
We thank God for her life, and may the Lord continue keeping her in peace,
Amen.
watching over Shiru and the rest of the siblings and their grandchildren now.
Yeah.
So we just thank you. Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you very
And
much.
if you don't mind, I will be sharing it out. I will
Yeah,
get
no
clips and I just want to hear these inspiring stories about the blind.
And at least if it can uplift just one
and
person.
it will uplift
Just one person,
Yes.
not even many, just one person.
It will,
And create awareness. Because I have realized, like, amongst my Kenyan friends, there are very, very many people I have spoken to about blindness who have never seen a blind person.
Every time I go to play a charity game to raise this money, because I need almost 17,000 plus shipping, almost 20,000 pounds, I always ask, has anyone got a family member who is blind? Nobody puts their hands up. But the interesting thing, some of them will come on the side and tell me, by the way, my mom is blind.
And it's
so there's still a stigma.
So you are